Okay, so I'm just going to have a look at some Manly knives. Manly are a knife manufacturing company in Bulgaria and Europe. They make some knives out of some of the best steels in the world. S90V, for example, which is a powder steel, and also German D2, which is probably the best value sort of high-end non-powdered steel on the market, and also Sandvik steels as well. So this is the peak stripped down, and so it's got a brass washer. It's a back lock, and you can see I've been using it, so that's some proof that I actually know what I'm talking about. That's why it's all dirty. Otherwise it'll be nice and clean, straight out of the factory, etc. So that just explains that, so don't have a fit. So it's just a spring operated back lock, as you can see. Okay, so it has a liner, and that fits into the scale like so, and so that gives it some lightweight and compact engineering. The threads on the screws are, they're substantial enough. Like some of the screws are very, very thin on some knives, but those are a good operational size. So let's have a look at the weight of these particular knives. The old scale works. It is. Right, so the peak comes in at 115 grams, and the Comrade, that's 118 grams, and the little baby Wasp is only 77 grams. Alright, so of course blade length, which is important. So blade length of the peak is, cutting edge that is, 95. And on the Comrade, well, I would say it is 87.5. I should do it on the other side, shouldn't I, in the millimeters. And little baby Wasp is just on 75 millimeters. So actually that's a safe to carry around in the UK, because anything under 75 mils in a slip joint is okay. If it's locking, it's a no-no, you can't carry it around in the UK. Oh, you're not allowed to carry pocket knives in New Zealand either, I don't think. Okay, so anyway, let's have a look at the Wasp. So the Wasp is a slip joint, which means that the joint obviously just slips through the locking mechanism, and it has a very large locking face. So this is an old-fashioned Schrade, which only has a locking face. Well, it's the Manly is 3 times larger, so that makes it safer and less likely to slip closed on your fingers. And it has a 3 locking position, so that gives you a safety of margin when you're operating it. And it's just the same thing with the Comrade, which is just a larger version of the Wasp, really. As you can see, very large locking face for the slip joint. Good thing about slip joint is it's easy to clean out, like as you saw in the any other lock tends to have places where you could get build up, whereas with the old Wasp it's very open. The Wasp and the Comrade, they're both very open and easy to clean. Here's a liner lock example. So when you have a liner lock, and obviously the back lock compared, it's arguably stronger in terms of the back lock. They can be both operated with one hand though, sort of just give it a bit of a shake with the back lock and it comes free, whereas with a line lock it's like that. So with the peak, and this is an Italian knife, it's a good advantage in price wise with us, because with the Italian knives, these are from Fox or Lion Steel or Viper in Italy and Maniago. That's the sort of knife centre of Italy, and the price of those are like $300 for this, and it's less than $100 for the larger backlock. Larger backlock Manly knife. And as you can see, there's more parts in a backlock, so you can imagine the cost of manufacturing that compared to just having just the split liner. I mean, really, all they've done is just separate the liner really and then bend it inward, whereas they've had to create a whole locking system for the backlock. So, you know, it's good value, isn't it? So you get all those parts and extra features and strength and reliability in the old peak. So that is good value. So once again, $100 versus $300 in New Zealand. So that's a price comparison. You know, there's no doubt about it. I'm not detracting anything from the design of the Italian ones. That's where their strength lies. If you want something in particular that looks good, it's got features that you like, and then that is the way to go. But there's a well-made Manly knife, for example, at a great price, and it's one-hand operation as well. Just to sort of further prove that I use them. So this is the D2 one, and this is the S90V one, and you can see I've used them both. I've put convex edges on both of them, so that's proof of that. So familiar with the steels, and they do cut longer than other steels. So let's get to the edge retention. So this is an edge retention chart. It's from an American company. So as you can see, here's S90V, which is the powdered steel. It's, you know, rated as the best. So you've got the tested M4, M390, LMAX, that's a common Italian one, D2. You know, so the edge retention on the CPM, they rate that as the best at 10, and the D2 is kind of coming through here at around about just under 8. And another steel they use is Sandvik with Manly, and that's down here. So that is just a bit under 4 for edge retention. So as in a guideline, the old D2, which was that $100 knife, is cutting. Here's the Italian one I just showed you, the N680. So that comes in, well, it's over half, so it's about a third, 30% longer it will cut for compared to, you know, before you'd have to resharpen it. Here's 440C, very common steel, and 1095. That's that is a sort of a carbon steel. So yeah, that's value-wise. You're definitely paying a fortune for the powdered steels, and there's the D2 and amongst all those powdered steels. And the, you know, edge retention, which is, if you're interested in a folder, which is really its purpose is for cutting. You know, a fixed blade is more for doing sort of other kind of work that, you know, you need the extra strength in, whereas a folder is just something you put in your pocket and use for cutting. You know, might do a bit of whittling and that kind of thing, sure, but really edge retention is the main purpose of a pocket knife. Now the pocket clip on these is really good. I've only ever had it pop out of my pocket once when I was in the bush, much to my surprise. This is after, you know, wearing it for well, a couple of years in the bush. Yeah, a little stick got in here and flicked it out. Fortunately I noticed, and since then I've actually just putting it in the pocket of my thermal, so it's up around my neck, and no chance of losing it or forgetting it. So anyway, they get my stamp of approval.